If I came to the table and it was time to eat my supper and I came and went like this, would I be having good manners? No. What if I came to the table and I was doing this? Was that having good manners? No. With my elbows on the table? That's not having good manners. I'm going to talk to you today about having good table manners. See, when you go sit down at the table or even at your house, we should always have good manners. When we're out in public, that means when we're out of our house. It's called being out in public. We should always be sitting and doing a good job at the table. Have you ever gone out to a restaurant? Even if you're out at a fast food kind of a restaurant or even a fancy restaurant, oh, we should always have good manners. Now, that's why we have things called forks and spoons and knives. And what are these called? This is called the what?
Silverware.
Silverware. Maybe you've already got to help mommy before set the table. And you put the fork on the napkin and you put the knife next to the plate and the spoon next to the knife right by the plate. And that's called your silverware. Now, do we play with our silverware? No. Should we go like this while we're at the table? No, that would not be having good manners. We keep our silverware down. We don't put it in the air. We're not going to play with our food because that's not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to eat our food, not play with our food. Now, I know the other day we were being silly in our lesson about olives and we put our olives on our finger, remember, and pretended to eat it. But that's just being silly. We could be silly for a little bit. But when you're out in public, you really shouldn't do that. We have to use our manners and not play with our food with our fingers. Now, there are finger food, like pizza. We got to eat pizza with our fingers, don't we? And what else? What else could we eat with our fingers?
Olives.
Well, what else could we eat? Something you dip into ketchup.
Chicken.
Well, like chicken nuggets or French fries. Those are things you can eat with your fingers. But most of the time, you eat things with either a spoon or a fork. And when you get bigger, you could use a knife and to be able to cut your own food. And then now mommy and daddy cut your own food. But we have to have good manners. We have to sit quietly while we're eating, and it's not playtime. You're not supposed to be bothering your brothers or your sisters while you're eating. You have to do a good job. What about when you're drinking? Oh, this is Miss Stewart's favorite. It's sweet tea. When you're drinking, should you do this? Making bubbles in your drink? No. That's not good manners. It should sound like this. Could you hear anything? No, because I'm not playing with my drink. I am just taking a nice sip. Maybe even if I had a straw in there, I would not make bubbles in my drink. I would want to sit quietly and not make bubbles and not play around because I'm going to use good manners. Do you know what it's fun to do? Is to go somewhere fancy. To go somewhere fancy, and that's when you have to act like a lady or a gentleman. And we don't put our elbows on the table. We keep our hands in our lap when it's not time for the food, and we wait for the food to be served. Sometimes you come to the table and it's already there for you. Sometimes you have to wait for the server to come, and they come with their plate, and they come and they say, here's your food, and they put it right here. And then, are you supposed to just start eating it?
You have to pray.
Yes, you need to pray for our food. Just like we pray for our snack, you're going to stop and wait and pray for your food. But you know what we also can do? It would be good manners if you wait for everybody at the table to get their food. So, if I was sitting down at the table and Kyla come. Kyla, you come stand right here. We're going to pretend you're at the table. And Angelina, you can come to the table too. And Mila come to the table. And William come to the table. If the server came and the server gave food to Kyla, and the server gave it to Angelina and to Mila, and me and William and I have not gotten our food yet, it would be good manners for Mila and Angelina and Kyla to wait for William and Mrs. Stewart to get our food, because it would be good manners to wait for us to have our food too. Then everybody could start eating. Okay, thank you. You may go sit down. Good job. Thank you for being my helpers. Yes, thank you. Well, sometimes mommy might say, it's okay, you go ahead and eat your food and we'll wait. We'll wait for our food, but you can go ahead. And then that's okay. If mommy and daddy say it's okay for you to start eating, then you can't. But it's always best when there's an adult around to always wait to make sure that they get their food first. Then that's having good manners. What is it called?
Good manners.
It's having good manners. So if we're playing with our food, is that good manners?
No.
No. If we're playing with our silverware, is that good manners?
No.
No. If we're making bubbles in our drink, is that good manners?
No.
No. We're going to do a very good job. Now, when you go out to eat, you have to sit quietly, and you wait for your food, and you wait patiently, and then you sit nicely and you eat your food. What if there is a bread basket in the middle of the table? Sometimes when you go out to eat, they will bring a bread basket with bread for the whole table. Should you climb over the table and get that bread and start eating it? No, you should wait for the bread to get passed around. It goes around the table, and when you get it, then you can reach in and grab one piece of bread. What if it's at your house? And you say, but it's my house. You still need to wait for mommy and daddy. Are you supposed to touch all the pieces of bread? No, you pick one piece of bread up and you put it on your plate. Now, what is this called? A napkin. I have my picnic setting. This is my picnic setting because if I'm going to go to the beach, I want to have my picnic setting. So I have my plate and my napkin right here. Now, is the napkin a toy? No, a napkin can be used so that food doesn't fall on your nice clothes, and you put it in your, where does it go? In your
lap.
In your lap, that's right. And then when you're done, you can wipe your mouth, clean your fingers, and then you can roll it up. You can even roll it into a ball if you want, and you put it on your plate, and then you're all done. Do we throw it on the floor?
No.
No, because if we threw it on the floor, that wouldn't be having what?
We put it in the trash can.
Yes, we put it in the trash can, because if we threw it on the floor, that would be not having good what?
Manners.
Good manners. Well, I want to tell you about Amber Lamb. Amber, mommy, and daddy got invited to a very important dinner, a very special dinner. Daddy Lamb was going to wear a bow tie. Remember when we talked about her bow tie today? And Mommy Lamb was going to dress up in a very fancy dress, and Amber was going to get to have a brand new dress too. She was going to look so pretty like when they go to church. And they were going to go to a fancy dinner, but her mommy needed to help her to learn to have good manners at this banquet. So they decided they were going to pretend to go into the kitchen. So Amber's mommy got out a plate and a napkin and her silverware, and they practiced being a lady at the table. When she put bread down on the table, what should Amber do?
Stop.
Wait. She should wait for the bread to come around. And when the bread came around, what did she need to do? How many pieces? One. She needed to touch one piece. She needed to have good manners. When she got her drink, what did mommy need to tell her not to make in her drink?
Bubble.
Bubbles, that's right. And if the food came to her first, what should she do?
Wait.
She needed to wait, that's right. And so mommy taught her how to have good manners so that they could go to this very special dinner. And then Amber was ready. Now she was a little nervous, but when she got there, she saw her pretty silverware, and she had a nice drink and a pretty plate, and she remembered all the things that mommy told her. And she did not put her elbows on the table. She put her hands in her lap, and she waited for the food to come. And when she was all done, she sat like a good little girl, and she did not play around, and she did not cause a scene, and she was being a lady at this banquet because she was using her good manners. I hope today, maybe even at lunch today, that you will have good manners. Maybe you'll go to a restaurant today, or maybe you'll just sit at the table and have some lunch, that you will have some good manners. And don't forget to pray and thank God for the food that you're about to eat.